Wrestling. We've got 6 great matches lined up for you here tonight on Southwest Championship Wrestling. You'll be seeing such stars as Cowboy Casey. He's in the ring now. We'll be going there in just a few moments for that match. Also, big Bruiser Brody is here, all 291 pounds of him. Cyclone Negro will be in action. You'll see the masked Grappler in that orthopedic boot. And of course, Gino Hernandez will also be making his appearance here on Southwest Championship Wrestling. My name is Steve Stack. It'll be my pleasure to bring you all the action from ringside, and we're going into the ring in just a few minutes, but it's my pleasure also to have here with me the Southwest Heavyweight Champion Dick Slater. And Dick, a lot of big names coming into the area. Ken Lucas will be coming soon, Rick Morton, and the man that I hear a lot about is coming to this area for one purpose, and that is to get a hold of you in your Southwest Heavyweight Championship. He's 6'4", weighs 265 pounds. The name you may have heard before, Hacksaw Dugan.
Well, before I get into Hacksaw Dugan, I'd like to say that it's a pleasure for me to be out here smiling for a change. You know, all the time I'm out here, I can't smile because I'm usually getting beat up or somebody's trying to do something very bad to me where I can't be able to come out here and be myself. Well, you know, the last week I went home, and I told my old lady, I says, well, how do I look? She said, you don't look too good. You know, and I had to hold my head down and kind of crawl out the door. So I went right over to my girlfriend's house. And I went ahead and went in there, and she said I didn't look too good either. Well, you know, I have got to reflect back to exactly what people do to me and why I get so enraged about what happens here on Southwest Championship Wrestling. I am the Southwest Heavyweight Champion. I know Buck Robley. Let me tell you a little story about Buck Robley. Buck Robley has sent out word all over this country to bring in somebody, some man, anybody he can get a hold of that could come in and strip me of the Southwest Heavyweight Championship. And now Dugan is one of these men. Of course, he's a great big man, 6'4", 6'5". How much did he weigh there?
265 pounds. He may go a little bigger than that.
Well, you know, the old saying is, you know, it doesn't matter how big the man is. It's how much heart he's got. I'm not a big man, but I have a lot of heart, and I have a lot of desire to be a winner. And if the man is a winner, then he will feel the same way. But I'd like to go ahead in the ring with this man and just see how tough he is, and I know I'm going to have the chance to do so because I know he's going to be after me.
Well, will you put your Southwest Heavyweight Championship on the line against this big guy?
I'll put my Southwest Heavyweight Championship on the line against anybody because I am a true competitor, and a competitor, if I am representing these people all over the state of Texas and the Southwest area as being the champion, then I have no choice whatsoever than to put my belt up, not only to prove something to myself, but to prove something behind these people that I am the Southwest Heavyweight Champion and I am their champion. And then guys like Dugan and guys like Tully Blanchard, Gino Hernandez, a lot of other people around here would like to have the Southwest Heavyweight belt around their waist. And of course, I am the man that everybody's gunning for, and I am going to go ahead and get in the ring, and I will defend it. If I win, I win, and if I lose, I lose. But I did it with every inch of heart I have and desire.
Thank you very much, Dick Slater, the Southwest Heavyweight Champion. Let's go to the ring now. Our first match is already there. And down here at ringside is our ring announcer, Gene Kelly.
Get it off the ground, Steve, with Don Serrano. Veracruz weighs at 225. Every ounce of that, I'll assure you, against Cowboy Scott Casey. Scotty out of Amarillo at 233 tonight. And, hey, they're getting it all right. Serrano's that's like getting a side headlock on a bowling ball, Steve.
Well, it's Casey with a side headlock, and Don Serrano is down a count of 2 from the referee, Eric Mannheimer. As we open it up here on Southwest Championship Wrestling, and coming up with a head scissor, it's Don Serrano. Serrano, a world traveler out of Veracruz, Mexico. Oh, look at Casey come over the top. He had Serrano's shoulders down again for a count of 2. Casey trying to get out of the head scissors.
For a man with legs no longer than that, Steve, Serrano made a very smooth move to get into that Casey into that head scissor. Casey's out.
Casey is out, and he dives and has the side headlock, but he doesn't keep it long as Serrano reaches up and locks Casey's head in, and Casey comes out, has the leg lock, goes back to the head with a lot of quick switches and a lot of moves. It's got Casey with a side headlock. They're on the ropes. Serrano in front. There's a takedown by Serrano. Big guy. Hey, he looks a little bigger to me than that 225 pounds. How about you, Gene?
Looked to me like he needs a rubber needle on his scale, Steve. Yeah, I'd have to go with that more than 225. Like the beautiful leg takedown by Casey. Back to the side head. And talking to Casey Lacker, he explained something about what that side head does, and it can really make a wrestler lose his orientation in the ring. It cuts off some different things to the brain, and so Brother Casey's going to work on that this time, it seems. when he gets back in control.
Serrano on top of Scott Casey there across the way from us. The referee asks for a break, and he gets it. In behind, a nice takedown by Scott Casey. Rolls him up, but I believe they're out underneath that bottom rope, so Casey has to break. Eric Manheimer, the referee, to start it out here on Southwest Championship Wrestling, trying to keep everything straight. There's a nice fireman's carry there by by Serrano as he got Casey up, but as you can see, he couldn't control after he got Casey down to the mat. Casey coming up on top.
We wrestle from the Junction every Monday night, Steve. Fortunately, you know that. We're at the Junction, 1704 Blanco Road in San Antonio. If you're in the area, wherever you may be watching the show, when you're in our area on Monday night, for goodness sakes, Steve Stack and myself invite you to stop by and watch us, as do all the wrestlers here on Southwest Championship Wrestling.
Casey with a bridge, getting those shoulders up off the mat. Serrano knocks him down with a forearm. Serrano with a knee. That's very close to the throat. Casey gets up to his knees. Serrano covers him from in front. They're in the ropes, and another break. And on the break, it's a forearm from Don Serrano, and he shouldn't have thrown that one, I'll tell you, because he has got Scott Casey mad now. The referee tries to calm Casey down a little bit. Serrano not wanting to punch it out, though he did throw the first punch.
Definitely got Casey's hackles up. We'll see. Scott giving him another chance. Ooh, over the top. And a knee drop.
Oh, that was right around the eye. Casey grabs the ropes, tries to keep Serrano off of him. Serrano covers him up in the corner. Serrano with another forearm. There's another forearm. He backs Casey right into the corner. He stays in front of him. Serrano uppercuts him with a forearm.
Big forearm left Serrano on Casey. Once again, Casey's hot. Casey seems like there's a little illegality going on there.
Well, Casey going after Don Serrano. Serrano stays in the corner. The referee tries to keep Casey back to give Serrano a chance to get out of there.
Don Serrano bending the rules slightly at this point, Steve.
Just a little bit right here as he tries to pick up a victory over Scott Casey. There's a step over one, steps inside, has a hip toss, holds on to the right arm of Scott Casey. A nice move there from Don Serrano. Veracruz, Mexico.
Don Serrano pretty fluid for a man his size when you say, Steve, he is the man. Oh, Casey kicks out. That'll dim your porch light.
Well, Scott Casey looking it over here. Serrano yells to the crowd. Well, Don Serrano better pay attention to Scott Casey and not worry about the crowd.
Yeah, he's getting in a chinning match with somebody in the audience that's playing a little game with him, Steve, and Casey will come up Dan Serrano's very lucky Casey didn't catch him with the blind side out. Beautiful move from Scott Casey.
Casey. There's a little hair pulling now. Very plain to us, but the referee was blocked from the view, and the referee is the one that has to see it to break the hold. It doesn't make any difference what I see sitting down here. Casey throws him off of that arm drag. Oh, Serrano started in and then he backed out, and wisely he backed out. No fist, says the referee. Locked up in the referee's position. Serrano goes in behind. Casey reverses, has a hammer lock. Serrano drops down, throws Casey over, and there's a kick. Well, the moves are coming fast here between these two big guys. Serrano staring Casey back. Casey just looks at him. A little later on, you'll be seeing that big Bruiser Brody going into the ring. Another hip toss from Serrano, and Casey get out of the way of the knee drop. Snapmare high in the air with a knee drop. Oh, Serrano felt that one. Casey's got him covered up. Only a 2 count. Serrano trying to shake it off. He goes back into the corner.
Yeah, Casey hurt him, Steve. He really did. Totally legal move, but it definitely got Don Serrano's attention. He's right now wanting to take a little break. Timeout, coach.
Forearm. Uppercut. That was a fist. There's a forearm. That was a good forearm there from Serrano. Casey with a knee. Oh, and Serrano wants Casey to stay back. Casey goes into the corner, grabs him by the ears. Referee tries to get him out of there. They exchange blows. Serrano takes the arm of Casey, lays it over the rope, and then he throws a big forearm in there, trying to hurt that left arm of Scott Casey. Doing a pretty good job of it right now. There's a knee lift. Serrano takes Casey and whips him all the way across the ring, throws his shoulder into that top turnbuckle. Open hand, that was a legal blow. The only bad part about it, he's not letting Casey out of that corner. Brings him this way, and Casey's shoulder goes into that turnbuckle again. Casey caught him coming in with a knee. There's another knee. A knee lift, and down goes Serrano after the third one.
Knocked his pins totally out from under him, Steve. Sound like a building falling. Oh, and again.
Flying head scissor. Casey twists him over. Up comes the right shoulder. For a moment there, it looked like it was all over for Don Serrano.
Scott Casey was airborne. Beautiful flying scissor. Serrano's out.
He's back on top of Serrano again. Here comes the count. It was 1. Serrano may have pulled the hair. There's a little choking, it looks like. But Casey gets a knee up to the top of the head. Serrano gets out of there, but now Serrano trying to move in behind. Casey moves in. Over the top goes Serrano. Over the top goes Casey. In front, side, backbreaker. Oh, a backbreaker as Casey got him over the rope. We saw the 3 count, and that's all there is. Scott Casey, the winner here on the opening match as he defeats Don Serrano. We'll be back with another one right after this. Well, the next match is in the ring. The bell sounds, so here's Gene Kelly.
Could be a long night for young Tony Torres. As much as I admire this young wrestler, he's out of Houston at 222, Steve, but he's going against Bob Sweetan out of Baton Rouge at 285. Is that right? It is, as a matter of fact. The man is a monster.
Yeah, he is a monster, and right now it's Tony Torres being whipped into the ropes, and Sweetan quickly gets a knee into the midsection, and Tony Torres is down. Sweetan with a boot to the back of the neck.
Sweetan got an arm on it. Looked like got his leg stuck through his shirt sleeve. Man is just humongous.
Big open hand judo chop as he has Tony Torres laying in the corner. Reversal coming here. Sweetan getting in front as he bounced out of that corner. Oh, Torres really whipped him into that turnbuckle, but Sweetan come right in there, and here he's got him covered up from in front with a face lock and takes him down.
Torres is going to find he's dealing with a lot of just brute strength tonight in Bob Sweetan, Steve.
Well, Sweetan will lay that 285 pounds on him and wear him down that way if he has to. The young man out of Houston, Texas, is in for a tough fight.
Indeed, I'm telling you, on television, I suppose you can tell the size of this man because Torres is no lightweight himself. Young man weighs well over 200 pounds. And Sweetan, this guy, there's no doubt in my mind when he gets his picture took, Steve, he gets group rate. He's about as big a man we got around here.
You know, and speaking of big guys, there's another big one coming next week to Southwest Championship Wrestling by the name of Hacksaw Dugan. 265 pounds, 6'4", and they tell me he looks a lot like Bruiser Brody.
265 pounds of walking mean is the word I get.
Yeah, you know, if you got a name like Hacksaw, that ought to tell you something. It's Sweetan now in the ring. Well, he laid that right on the jaw of Tony Torres. Off the rope comes Torres. Oh, and Sweetan caught him with a big one right to the ribs. That may have broke a rib. I heard something pop. He caught him right in the ribs, and it wouldn't surprise me if Torres isn't hurting for a while right in the rib cage. Sweetan back in front. Sweetan, 285 pounds, brought to us by the Colonel Buck Robley. Robley not out here for this match, but I'm sure we'll see the Colonel later as the Grappler will be out in action. Hey, nice takedown by Torres. Can he hold the arm? He does. Now, Tony Torres showed us he can make some good moves as he brought the big man over. Jimmy McGuire, the referee in this match. You know, Jimmy's been a professional wrestling referee for 11 years. Started out in Florida. He's been all over the country and been in Japan and everywhere else. Jimmy McGuire, excellent referee, don't you think, Gene?
He is. I really like the looks of the man, Steve. I was commenting earlier, as a matter of fact, McGuire is one of the finer referees I've seen anywhere. Just like the way he moves in the ring. He's on top of the action. He's a good-looking referee. You're right about that.
Well, he's right where all the action is. Southwest Championship Wrestling. Laying on the ropes now is Tony Torres, and Sweetan kicks him off with a big knee to the back. An elbow to the back of the neck. Torres dropped to his knees, come right back up, and Sweetan quickly in front covers him up again. We saw the pile driver of Bruiser Bob Sweetan last week. And I kind of hope he doesn't put it on Tony Torres, but you never know what's going through Sweetan's head because Torres may not be able to walk out of here.
Something that Sweetan uses as good as anybody you'll see in a professional wrestling ring, and you're right. Many men don't walk away from it without help.
Yeah, they move quickly. Torres backing away from Bruiser Bob Sweetan. Side headlock by Tony Torres. Locks it on tight, and that hurts. Let me tell you, you get that bone of that wrist and you bury it into the forehead, and you just really sink it in there and twist it and turn it. Here's Sweetan reaching in and picking Torres up with that big backdrop. Oh, Tony Torres felt that as he bounced off the mat. He only got a 2 count on him, though, as he had enough left to kick out from underneath Sweetan. Boy, Bruiser Bob Sweetan putting the haymaker in there. There's another one. He has got Tony Torres pretty weakened down here, but Torres continues to throw some blows as he puts them across the chest of Sweetan. Knees to the midsection. Throws him out of there. And Sweetan up quickly. There's a drop kick from Tony Torres. Torres with a knee drop. He's got him covered up, but he doesn't even get a 1 count as Sweetan quickly kicked out of there. They're on the ropes. Whipped across the way at Sweetan, and there's a kick, and down goes Tony Torres. Well, Bruiser Bob Sweetan took some big blows from Tony Torres, and now it's Sweetan coming back. Oh, look out, look out. Here's that pile driver. Oh, he just drove that head right down into the mat, and Tony Torres, like everybody else, is not going to get up, and it's Bruiser Bob Sweetan coming up with a victory over Tony Torres. Torres laying down on the mat, and Sweetan using that pile driver, and that pile driver, not too many men get up from it.
Let's face it, nobody, and I mean nobody, gets up from it when the pile driver is applied properly. Sometimes the man isn't exactly where I want him, but when I get the man in there and put him right where I want him, the same results as just that happened here. The man gets helped out of the ring, and he knows that he's been in a fight. He knows that he's been hurt, and he knows that anybody else that's watching it as well as I do, every time they step in the ring with Bruiser Bob Sweetan, that's what they think of. The pile driver. That's in the back of their mind, because they know with that hold, there's a long list of people that aren't in the sport of professional wrestling any longer because of what I do to them with the pile driver.
Well, let me ask you this. It looked like to me you had Torres really whipped down. You really didn't need to put that pile driver on him. You could have pinned him with that backdrop.
But that's not the point. The point of this sport is to install fear. And I mean the fear that's deep down in a man's gut. The fear that shows in his eyes when he looks in the mirror. The fear that goes through his body when he thinks of Bruiser Bob Sweetan, because here he sees a man that enjoys going out there and doing what I did to this kid here, hurting people. I mean physically hurting him. I'm not saying this kid was bad or anything. He was easy. Nobody's easy when they step in the ring. They're all hard. But the point is, I want everybody in the Southwest area to understand one thing, that the man that they're looking at right now not only enjoys beating people, but above all, he enjoys pain. And that's inflicting it on anybody and everybody that dares to step in the ring with me, from tag team champions on up to the Southwest champion. It doesn't make any difference who they are, how big they are, or where they come from. They all know when they step in the ring with Bruiser Bob Sweetan that more than likely, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be hurt and be carried out of the ring. And that's the only way that I wrestle. It's the only way I want to wrestle, because I enjoy hurting people.
Thank you very much, Bruiser Bob Sweetan, and he does hurt him. Another great match will be coming in the ring for you in just a moment, and we'll be back with it right after this. Next match in the ring.
Bruiser Brody from Albuquerque at every ounce at 291 against Gary Young, 265 out of Paducah, Kentucky.
Oh, the big man. One of my favorite wrestlers and a good friend of mine. I'm no fool. If I'm going to have a friend, I want the big guy.
I guarantee you, if you find another him like him, we'll make him our friend too.
You got that right. Bruiser Brody against Gary Young. It's Bruiser Brody quickly going to the head. Look at the size of that man. Now, Gary Young is not a small guy, I'll tell you that. Boy, does he fly when he gets hit with that shoulder, Bruiser Brody.
Gary Young, the Duke of Paducah. If you ain't real careful against this man, you can end up being the Duchess of Paducah, because this boy is not a little tough. Stephen, he's a mean man. To be such a nice person just to talk to and meet in the dressing room and so forth, the man is all mean and all business in that ring.
He is all business, I can tell you that. Gary Young backed him in a corner. And Gary Young may have seen some hillbillies down there in Kentucky, but he has never seen nothing like this wild man, Bruiser Brody.
Oh, the man's an animal.
Brody finally gets out of there as he backed off. The referee, Eric Mannheimer, back for this match. Bruiser Brody just with ease backs Young on the ropes, grabs the leg, pulls him up, takes that big boot. I don't even know how big that boot is, but I could make me 2 boots out of that one. Here they come out of the ring. It's Brody grabbing the hair of Gary Young, throws him into the steel post over there. Oh, and Brody kicks him. Everybody over there is moving out of the way because Bruiser Brody, when he cleans house, he's allowed to clean with anybody.
Brody like a whole family of people walking down the aisle.
You know, he is the brass knuckles champion, and he can punch it out as well as dish it out in this wrestling ring. Whoa, what a blow that was. Young down to one knee. Bruiser Brody knocks him down again as Young started up.
You know what I'm thinking about it, Steve? Oh, here they come. Young's head into the buckle on his side.
Brody, a little kick there. But I don't guess you can get a little kick out of Bruiser Brody. That's a big kick.
Not that foot. Looks like a boat.
Oh, that was right here in front of us. You could hear that one pop. Well, I would never want to meet this guy in a dark alley. It's bad enough to see him here in the light. Kick. Young back in the corner. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Gary Young's going to have a long trip back to Paducah, Kentucky.
He probably wished he'd never made the one down here.
What a slam from Brody. Brody going in the corner. Here he comes. Oh, 291 pounds. Gary Young is gone. I don't believe Gary Young maybe threw one blow if he threw that. And Bruiser Brody making short work of Gary Young. Brody walking it around in the ring. I want him to calm down just a little bit before he gets over here. Bruiser Brody getting into the ring with Gary Young, and I'd have to say, Mr. Brody, it was all you, all 291 pounds of you.
Steve, first of all, I want to take a minute here and slow down. And I want to thank you, thank my good friend here. Thank you. And I want to thank all the people that watch Southwest Championship Wrestling every week and allow Bruiser Brody and all the other fine athletes to come into your home each and every week. Now, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of big talk about Hacksaw Dugan. I want to go on record that I don't know Hacksaw Dugan. A lot of people say he's just like me. Maybe that's bad, maybe that's good, I don't know. But a lot of people say he's just like me. I know of Hacksaw Dugan. I was in Australia in 1977. The Royal Police, the Royal Australian Police, met Hacksaw Dugan at the airport in Sydney, Australia, and didn't let him in the country. I was supposed to wrestle him. I don't know why he wasn't allowed in the country. I don't care why he wasn't allowed in the country. But one thing I do know, that was 5 years ago. Hacksaw Dugan's been running around the entire world, fattening up his big reputation and shooting off his big mouth. Hacksaw Dugan may be everything that his reputation says he is. He may be one heck of a fine wrestler. He may be one heck of a fine, tough street fighter. And he may come in here into the state of Texas, in the Southwest area,
and kick everybody's fanny up around their ear. He may do it. But let me tell you something about Hacksaw Dugan. When he gets done kicking everybody else in the seat of the pants, he's got to come my way. And when he comes my way, it's going to take a whole lot more than a kick in the seat of my pants to keep me down in this ring. Now I want to be the first to say, if Hacksaw Dugan is man enough to live up to his reputation, when him and I finally do get in this ring, when him and I finally do get nose to nose, and he can kick my butt, then I'll take my boots off and I'll take my tights and I'll leave the state of Texas. But let me tell you, I don't know how you feel about it. I know how I feel about it. I'm here for a long time.
Well, Bruiser Brody, there's no doubt about it. Bruiser Brody doesn't want to go anywhere, and Hacksaw Dugan may not even show up. He's supposed to be here on Southwest Championship Wrestling next week, and we'll remind you that a little later on. Coming up next, the Grappler with the orthopedic boot brought to us by the Colonel Buck Robley right after this. While the Colonel, Buck Robley, has brought the Grappler into the ring.
The Grappler, 250 pounds, Steve, and Ray Hernandez out of Tampa, 265. Of course, Grappler with that famous built-up boot is. We'll watch that closely tonight, I believe.
Well, the Colonel, Buck Robley, is outside the ring now. He has brought the Grappler in to meet Ray Hernandez, and it's Hernandez shoving the Grappler back into the corner.
Hernandez has a little weight advantage in this match, Steve. If he has any advantage of all, it's got to be weight, because the Grappler's another tough hombre.
A Grappler with a forearm. Reaches in. Look at there. Had that 265 pounds up, slammed it down. Whoa! Oh! Oh, did he throw him off?
Flying through the air, just absolutely through the air. Thought he was going to go out under the bottom rope.
Well, Robley calls the masked Grappler over, has a few words with him, and I don't think Robley liked what happened there. And he's telling the Grappler not to get in that position again, to try to get things going his way.
I'm sure the Grappler will do his absolute best not to get in that position again. And we've seen in the past, Steve, Ray Hernandez is a good-looking young athlete and tremendously strong young man. Of course, he's big. A lot of strength in that weight, though.
There, he done it one more time. Oh, is Robley mad? Robley can't believe what's happened to his Grappler. Robley's got that cane, and I believe I'd look out for that cane, because Robley's the type of guy that if he thinks he can help the Grappler out, he will. There's a nice headbutt there from the Grappler.
He'll help him out in a second if he can. We know that from the Colonel, the sick and devious Buck Robley. He earned that title, I'll promise you.
Well, now, Robley's yelling in, beat him, beat him. Well, I don't know. The Grappler slams him down to the mat. Comes through with an elbow right across the chest. The count is 1, 2. Referee Jimmy McGuire started down for 3, and about that time Hernandez picked up a shoulder. Well, the Grappler listening to Robley now, turning things around in his favor at this point. Hernandez with a punch, but here comes the Grappler. Doubles up those fists. Has Hernandez down, and once again it's just a 2 count, and Robley can't believe it. Robley really disappointed. He thought the Grappler should have had him. Another slam. Here comes the Grappler into the corner. Goes up on the middle rope. Dives with a knee across the chest. Has Hernandez covered up. It's 1, 2, and that's all. He didn't get the 3 count again, and the Grappler is punching. He's mad. 3 times now he thought he's had Hernandez pinned, and he didn't do it.
Rakes the eyes. From this view, it looked for all the world like to rake the headlights. Bam! Into the top buckle. The Grappler with the head of Ray Hernandez. Hernandez in trouble right now.
Snap mare out of there by the Grappler. The Grappler puts him down. Here comes another count on Hernandez, and it's 2 one more time. Gino Hernandez will be coming out here on Southwest Championship Wrestling in a little while, so all you Gino Hernandez fans, stay tuned.
Likewise for you Cyclone Negro fans. Speaking of somebody that's poetry in motion in the ring, we hope to see him a little later.
You know, everybody talking about this Hacksaw Dugan. I'm ready to see this guy. He must be something else.
Well, they tell me the folks that have seen Hacksaws, they remind you very much of the Bruiser Brody.
Well, Hacksaw Dugan will be here next week, along with Rick Morton. It's the grappler in the ring, holding on to the left arm of Ray Hernandez. Forearm to the back of that shoulder of Hernandez. There's another one. Robley the referee telling Robley to get out of the way, get back in the corner.
Robley looks a little concerned, Steve. Oh, Buck don't hear me say this, but he's got that beard and that mustache, that full growth. Buck looks like he's eating a tumbleweed. But he's a little concerned right now. What's going on with his partner? As Ray Hernandez can get to be a handful.
Well, it's Hernandez with some big forearms now. The grappler coming off the ropes. Oh, and Hernandez get up with a drop kick. Caught him right in the midsection. Goes up for another drop kick. The grappler down. Hernandez with a big block. A shoulder tackle there. And now the grappler gets in front. Has him up with a grappler on the shoulder. The grappler twists. Drops that shoulder in there with a shoulder breaker. Takes him. Slams his shoulder into the turnbuckle. The grappler. Here he goes, coming out of the grappler twist, where he dives down that shoulder and drives the man's shoulder and head into the mat. And it may be over. 1, 2, oh, and Hernandez somehow got out from underneath. Hernandez, oh, and a big shoulder tackle as he knocks the grappler back into the corner. Robley yelling at the grappler. Hernandez bills him out of there. Oh, he's loading the boot. He loaded that boot as Robley interfered, and he kicks Hernandez right in the midsection with it. Once again, he loaded the boot, and once again, he's going to get the victory.
For all the world, he loaded it, Steve. I can't imagine what's in that boot, but it is something powerful. Every time he uses it, it's all over for the other wrestler.
Robley distracted the referee long enough for the grappler to load the boot. He kicked Hernandez with it. Hernandez was down for the count of 3, and that grappler once again wins one here on Southwest Championship Wrestling. We'll be back with another match right after this. Well, the bell sounds. Here's your ring announcer.
Tom Pritchard, 227 out of Houston, at the mercy of Gino Hernandez right now. Gino Hernandez all over Pritchard like a cheap suit.
Oh, boy, he threw him out of the ring. Look at Gino Hernandez. He quickly threw Tom Pritchard out of the ring. Pritchard down on the concrete floor trying to make his way up on the apron. Here he comes, and Hernandez is waiting for him. Well, the young men here on Southwest Championship Wrestling really getting started quick. And Pritchard backs Hernandez into the ropes, whips him across the ring, and backflips him. Oh, Tom Pritchard has Hernandez backing away into the corner. And he kicks him, and he kicks him again. Hernandez is down. Tom Pritchard after Gino Hernandez, trying to pull him out of the corner, and here he comes. Oh! Well, Hernandez started it all by throwing Pritchard out of the ring. He got the young man all riled up.
Oh, he is fit to be tied, and he's putting it on. Gino Hernandez, all over him more than anywhere else.
A drop kick there. Hernandez throws a leg over that bottom rope so Pritchard doesn't get a pin. Pritchard. Ooh, he was in front that time, and he caught the kick of Gino Hernandez.
Hernandez wily, to say the least. There's a reason the man has worn several championship belts, Steve. Whatever you may think, the man is an excellent wrestler.
One half of the dynamic duo is Gino Hernandez along with Tully Blanchard. They hold that tag team championship. Hernandez reaching in, has Pritchard up, slams him to the mat, dives in there with an elbow, covers him up for a 2 count. And Hernandez is wanting a faster count. Well, I don't know. It looked like that was a good count to me. Off the ropes comes Pritchard. Over the top he goes. He hooks Hernandez with him. Had him hooked and put him down for a 2. Well, Gino won't complain. He don't want a fast count when his shoulders are down.
No, that count was plenty fast for the man. Into the ropes and across. Tommy Pritchard down. Big shoulder tackle.
Oh, they collide. Both men down. The people are yelling for Tom Pritchard to get up first. Both men moving about the same speed right now as they felt that big collision. Double drop kick, they both miss. Oh, double drop kick, and neither one of them were there. The crowd really getting into this match. Nice move there by Tom Pritchard as he got that boot up on the side of the head of Gino Hernandez. Hernandez uses his head as a battering ram. That was pretty close to a low blow.
Very, very, very close. Not sure at all that it wasn't, Steve. Anybody's match now, although Hernandez seems to be coming to his feet. Referee counting both men, now just on Pritchard.
Well, here comes Gino Hernandez grabbing Tom Pritchard by the head. Throws him into the turnbuckle. Goes diving in there with a knee, and Tom Pritchard moved out of the way just in time. Pritchard kicking the leg. Pritchard kicking again. Pritchard slingshots off that leg of Gino Hernandez. That Gino Hernandez, you can bet, is thinking how he can turn this thing around. Pritchard dives down there again. Gino Hernandez really taking a lot of punishment on that right leg as Pritchard buries a knee into the muscles.
Tommy's young. He wants to watch Hernandez because Pritchard does have the advantage right now, but Hernandez has been known to do something, fair means or foul, to pull one out, Steve. You've seen it happen. Right now is the time for the young man to be especially careful of Gino Hernandez.
Hernandez trying to get up. He can't even stand up. He couldn't even stand on that leg. He'd have to get up and shake it out and limp it out for a while if he does get up. And here he comes, still limping. Whips Pritchard into the ropes, has him up on his back, and Hernandez couldn't get anything. Oh, he dove through the ropes, held on, and Pritchard went down, and you can see Hernandez is still unable to stand up.
Oh, Pritchard worked on that right wheel. I mean, he gave it a thorough going over, and Gino's feeling it right now.
Hernandez not out of it, reaching in high in the air he goes with Pritchard with that beautiful backdrop. Hernandez coming up on the ropes. He's going up on the top rope. He is on the top rope, and there he comes off with a big elbow, and Pritchard is not going to get up. And Gino Hernandez, barely able to stand up, comes up the winner. As Pritchard is still down, Hernandez went up on that top rope, come flying off with an elbow, and Gino Hernandez is the victor as Tom Pritchard is still down. And
I'd just like to say to all the people, you know, you can try conspiracies of breaking up my partner in life, Tully Blanchard and me, and putting us in single matches. Well, it doesn't work, but because we're the two greatest individuals of all time. And I just showed everyone an example of what can be done on an individual basis. As far as tag teams, we are the world champions. But whatever way it may be, tag matches or single matches, myself, gorgeous Gino Hernandez, the handsome half-breed, can take on Dick Slater, Scott Casey, that wetback Manny Fernandez, or last but certainly not least, that stupid, ignorant, idiot, redneck Bruiser Brody, who goes around throwing all this crap out about how tough he is. Whatever it may be, them as singles or as combinations against the kid Tully Blanchard and myself, we will be victorious because I am the greatest and Tully Blanchard is the greatest, and we will always prevail.
gorgeous Gino Hernandez, he calls himself. He and Tully Blanchard are the tag team champions. We've got a tag team match coming up for you here in Southwest Championship Wrestling. Coming into the ring in just a few minutes. Well, a tag team match here on Southwest Championship Wrestling.
Tag team match par excellence. Cyclone, Negro, and Manny Fernandez going against Juan, Reynosa, and young, good-looking man by the name of Jesse Barr.
Well, it's Jesse Barr starting out against Cyclone Negro. Barr comes to us out of Portland, Oregon.
Indeed he does. Weighs 235. The Cyclone at 2.5 out of Caracas, Venezuela. Guarantee you Jesse is going to get the baptism by fire in this one if he stays in there long. Well, that's not much up. That's frying pan to the fire. In comes Manny Fernandez.
Well, Fernandez goes over the back, and he has the body scissor applied to Jesse Barr. Ooh, does he have it applied? He locked it on tight. And Jesse Barr fills it from Manny Fernandez.
All the way to the bottom of his feet. You can bet on that, Steve. Juan Reynosa looking and yelling encouragement. Juan looking a little hesitant himself about crawling in the ring. He's been in the ring against both of these men before, and he knows how tough it can be.
Well, it's Jesse Barr trying to get out of the body scissor applied by Manny Fernandez. Fernandez's shoulder was down, and there was a count. Referee Jimmy McGuire. Here comes Barr, flipped off the ropes. Manny Fernandez goes right after him. Having a hard time seeing around this big Cyclone Negro standing up here. It's Juan Reynosa into the ring now, and Manny Fernandez has him, brings him over to where Cyclone Negro is, and Cyclone is tagged in. Oh, he popped him one there right on the head.
Sounded like he was cracking a pecan when he hit him.
Slams his head into the turnbuckle.
I thought Juan was going to make a mistake of butting his head, and that would be a grievous error, Steve. I know you've seen Cyclone Negro butt somebody on the head before, but the man will stun you out of your senses. Oh, big flying head scissors.
Cyclone Negro going up in the air to come up with a head between his legs and the head of Juan Reynosa. Reynosa is mad. Well, a takedown with the leg. Cyclone Negro reaches up with the other leg. Look at that twist as he got both legs around the head of Juan Reynosa and then just spun him out of there.
Looked like he was propping an airplane, didn't he?
Sure did. There's Cyclone Negro tags out. And it is Manny Fernandez back into the ring.
Manny, you know, next Florida State champ, also next heavyweight sideways champ. He's wore a lot of belts himself, and there's a reason for that, Steve. This man is some good in the ring. More moves than a good checker player.
There comes a flying head scissor, and he dropped Juan Reynosa right on his head.
That didn't miss being a pile driver very far, did it?
Not too much. Manny Fernandez is going to have to break the hold as Juan had his legs tied up in the bottom rope. Fernandez is tagged out. Cyclone Negro is now the legal man into the ring, and he uppercut that left uppercut right onto the jaw of Juan Reynosa. Over the top goes Reynosa. Cyclone decides to get out of there in a hurry.
Let me tell you something. That's 260 pounds Cyclone throwing through the air like that. Welcome, Mr. Fernandez.
Big power slam from Manny Fernandez. 1, 2, 3. And Juan Reynosa goes down, and he and Jesse Barr come out on the short end as Manny Fernandez and Cyclone Negro come up the victors here on Southwest Championship Wrestling to close it out with that exciting tag team match. We have just a little time left, enough time to tell you that next week here on Southwest Championship Wrestling, Ken Lucas will be coming. Remember, Ken Lucas, at one time, he was the world junior heavyweight champion. His weight fluctuates quite a bit, so Ken is coming in here next week on Southwest Championship Wrestling. And the man we've heard about all night long, 6'4", 265 pounds, Hacksaw Dugan. They tell us he looks a lot like Bruiser Brody. Brody didn't like that, but he is a big man. He has the beard. He dresses a lot like Brody, and he is tough. So Hacksaw Dugan will be here next week. We'll have a lot of great matches for you. We hope you'll join us for the finest hour in professional wrestling. Till next week, this is Steve Stack saying so long for Southwest Championship Wrestling.